China is our competition. Russia is our competition. They see the power of the economy of space in these 4 sectors, and they are rushing to that future. And there is no guardian force in America, but there is in China. China has already built the organization and has the strategy and the doctrine, the technology, and the builders for their guardian force of space. They are building a navy in space with the equivalent of battleships and destroyers that will be able to maneuver and kill and communicate with dominance. And we are not. Now, this analogy might help clarify the picture going back to my original comment of what's really going on here. The competition is not about making better satellites or even having a constellation of satellites. When you see China on the far side of the moon mapping today the minerals and the resources so that they can eventually have infrastructure to build and 3D print and have a manufacturing industry in space, what you are watching is the equivalent of us sitting here on our continental United States. Let's say we're in Miami and we're looking out over the wide open ocean. That ocean is deep space. The orbit around the Earth is the shoreline where the waves are crashing. The deep water is space. And there is a continent out there 3 times the size of Africa. That's the moon. And nobody lives there. It's only 3 days away. It has massive amounts of everything that Mother Earth has, to include water on the South Pole in the craters, greater than the Great Lakes as far as volume. And China is racing with ships on that open ocean to that great, open, desolate place that can be turned into resources and blessing for a marketplace. And they're doing it not just to get the resources, but to tap into the trillion-dollar markets on planet Earth. Imagine what you could do if you could sell technology to somebody from China and deliver Wi-Fi. And once you've built the infrastructure in space, you can deliver it for pennies. Electricity, where your satellite dish doesn't just get DirecTV now, it gets energy. It supplies your Chinese batteries and capacitors as they're building to get radio waves from space that give you that energy over time. They will tap into those trillion-dollar markets as they have in the past, as we have in the past, and fund their ecosystem, their economy, their marketplace in cislunar space, which is basically the distance between the Earth and the moon and beyond.
Cislunar.
And we, as an American society, we are sitting on Miami Beach, sipping our pina colada, looking out at the waves, and as we are watching China build this navy with battleships and destroyers going out into the open oceans and off to this continent 3 times the size of Africa, we are building buoys and lighthouses, which are the satellites. They can see and hear what's going on, but can't do a darn thing about that rover on the back side of the moon, the far side of the moon, that if we were to try to go there, they could shoot us down. And speed matters. Speed matters, because whoever gets to the new market sets the values for that market. And we could either have the market with the values of our Constitution, where every human being is created equal and loved equally by God and their parents and their brothers and sisters, and that respect is manifested in the rights of an individual to vote, to own land, to bear arms, all the things the Constitution gives us. Or we can have the values that we see manifest in China, Hong Kong, the Uyghurs. You pick your example of subordination and crushing religion and human rights and human dignity and human liberty. But America is such a good-hearted country, we oftentimes are deceived by the nature of China's strategy. Their strategy is not to make better satellites. Their strategy is to build an economy before we do. Because if you get there first, they will be able to, with a constellation in space, see and kill anything that flies above the trees. the blood and treasure required to get back to that high ground if we are not there first will pale in comparison to World War II and World War I in ways that only those that study this technology and its power can know. Because China has met, for 30 years, they have met every single milestone of their space program. And in the next 10 years, they will have solar and nuclear power generation space stations on orbit. They broadcast that they will be used for peaceful purposes, that those radio waves will bring energy to anybody on planet Earth without the need for power lines or power plants. But in a millisecond, that dominance of the electromagnetic spectrum can be directed energy that could paralyze any part of our power grid and freeze any military might America builds on the spot. Every carrier battle fleet is a cork in the water. Every fleet of fighters is dead on the ramp, can't even turn a wheel because of our vulnerability. China has openly stated they are weaponizing everything Western civilization was built on, energy and information. And 5G is a perfect example. If you don't think they will act in a way that steals our ideas and our technology, duplicates it, and then dominates the marketplace, take a look at 5G. Nobody 20 years ago would have ever believed that America would not have an answer to 5G when China rolled it out. Why didn't we have it? Well, it's pretty easy. China invited companies like Lucent Technology, Motorola, Nortel into China with a nice package of benefits at the cost of proprietary information, intellectual property. And they built Huawei out of the bankrupt carcasses of those three companies.